Hey everybody, on today's episode, I've got Sunroom Leasing, and we're going to be talking about all the cool stuff they're doing. You got to listen in.
Welcome to the Property Management Mastermind Show with your host, Brad Larson. Brad owns one of the fastest growing property management companies in San Antonio, Texas. This podcast is for property managers by property managers. You'll hear from industry-leading professionals on best practices, new ideas, success stories, and lessons learned. This is your opportunity to learn about the latest industry buzz surrounding property management, as well as tips and strategies to improve your business.
Are you looking to grow your company? Upkeep Media specializes in working with property management companies to help them grow their business. They have helped hundreds of companies add more properties under management with their 3-phase system. They put a focus on helping property management companies succeed, and you can see proof of this with dozens of success stories available on their website. They currently offer a free growth marketing session for anyone who signs up at upkeepmedia.com/growth. With their specialists in the property management industry, Upkeep Media gives you the edge that makes all the difference. Contact them today at info@upkeepmedia.com or call 1-800-418-9430 to get started today.
Pest Share, a pest control amenity for your resident benefits program. Starting at just $5 per door, you can give your residents the pest control coverage they need. Pest Share will even pay for the expensive infestations like bedbugs and cockroaches. And the debate over who pays for pest control, while Pest Share turns an expense into added revenue. For more information, check out their website at pestshare.com/property managers.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the Property Management Mastermind podcast. I'm your host, Brad Larson. Now today's guest, I've got Mr. Cody on, and we're going to be talking about what he's doing with Sunroom Leasing.
Yeah.
Here we are at PMMCon 2023. We're almost to the end. It's Friday afternoon. As a sort of semi-announcement, I just signed an agreement to bring the conference back here, March 6, 7, 8, 2024.
Look at that.
Same hotel. Same floor, roughly same month, same city.
Yeah.
And it's going to be all set up. We're all signed and ready to
This
go.
is fresh off the press.
Fresh off the press. I signed like an hour ago.
No kidding.
You know, you go back and forth with the hotel, you negotiate a few things and make a few tweaks. And they said we were one of the few that actually signed on the spot. And I said, well, it should be attributed to you guys and your staff, because they've treated us fantastic here. It's been a great conference. And everybody says that, but okay, well, I didn't rebook in Vegas the first year. I didn't rebook in Dallas the second year. I didn't rebook in Vegas last year. And here we are.
The food has been fantastic.
Nashville, and I booked for next year already. I already signed before we're leaving. So that's pretty good testament. So all that aside, I wanted to bring you on to talk about what you're all doing, because I'm really know very little about what you guys do.
Most people do.
And so rather than you and I talk for 20 minutes in the hall, I said, let's just stop. Let's talk about it right here on the podcast and talk through what y'all do and who you are. So I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes and let you tell us all about what y'all are doing.
Love it. Well, thanks for having me, Brad. It has been truly a good event. I mean, from start to finish, it's been very wild as far as relationships and all the details that go into this. Your staff specifically at Rentworks, fantastic people. I don't know what you guys are drinking in the water down there in San Antonio, but very generous, very kind, and they're working. They're working their 12-hour shifts, and they're still doing it here at PMMCon. So bravo to you. But yes, I'm Cody Frank. I'm the head of sales at Sunroom Leasing. So we're actually right up the road from you in San Antonio, in Austin, Texas. So we actually are a leasing-only brokerage. A lot of people consider us as a partner in leasing, an in-house leasing team. I always really like to go into kind of the problem that we solve. Leasing is very cumbersome for property managers. It's a lot of moving parts. It's what we call operationally intensive. I think when you think of it from a strategic standpoint, you are at the mercy of your owners to reduce days on market. You're the expert at working with your owners. Sunroom is actually expert at working with the renters. And the reason why we created Sunroom about 6 years ago, and our co-founders, Ben Doherty and Zach Murray, they created it to make a frictionless process for renters to find properties and apply very seamlessly, easy. One person to contact, find a property online, bada bing, bada boom, they're done. And what's interesting about our model now is we've shifted towards property management companies that have typically north of 100 doors, single family residential in states like Texas, Georgia, South and North Carolina, Florida. We're expanding into other regions. We just launched Arizona a couple months ago. So we're getting really popular in these areas. But the problem that we solve is, like I said, leasing is cumbersome. So if you think of the time that goes into it, photography, front yard sign, marketing, all those pesky phone calls, the drive time, the tours. You think about lease prep, signing, security deposit collection, all of those things can last a while. Then you got the pain from the owners telling you about how long it's been on the market for and what we can do to get it leased faster. So we come in and partner with these property management companies simply as an in-house leasing team. Personally, as the head of sales, I really don't like to be painted with the brush that you're outsourcing your leasing. If you're familiar with like construction or really anything, subcontracting, we really like to be understood as more of a partner, a mutual partnership with leasing. So everything is aggregated in a portal. So instead of simply putting your properties into maybe your PropertyWare, your Buildium software, your property management software, you would actually submit it into a Sunroom portal. Very similar to Netflix or Uber. If you've ever used an Uber before, right? You see a little car moving around. You submit a property, very easy, and it's a set it and forget it. That's what our property management customers tell us. Wow, I just submitted a property, you guys. I gave the rent price. I gave the security deposit collection. I gave the pets, no pets. It's a simple process I can do on my phone. And once I hit submit property, Sunroom goes to work. We go out to the property, we set up the front yard sign, we do the marketing, we write the description for you, we blast that puppy on like 50 different internet listing sites, we field the phone calls, we do the screening for you, which is really big on fraud detection, and we collect VOI, VOR, VOE, so you don't have to. And the nice thing about that is once we get somebody that fits the criteria that you're looking for, Brad, is we hand that over to you and say, hey, how's this look for you? Approve or deny it inside your portal. Once you approve it, we'll take the ball downfield and simply draft up the lease for you. We'll collect security deposit for you. And it's all really done by our team of experts. This isn't a VA situation. These are people that are in-house in our Austin, Texas office. Ex-property managers, licensed agents in the states that we operate in. We have to be because, again, we are a leasing-only brokerage. So if you think about it conceptually, what is the problem that Sunroom is solving? Days on market, right? We're solving the fact that renters who are happier pay and they stay. We're solving the problem of reducing the noise that goes into property management. When you're dealing with your owners, that's your sole focus. And there's 4 pillars to property management if you think about it. So if you think about the 4 pillars, there's finance and accounting, pillar number 1. There's marketing. There is leasing, and there's growth. And you can't really get to growth if you don't have one of those pillars pretty much tackled, right? So we come in and just handle the leasing portion of your management style. You could incorporate maintenance in there with finance and accounting as well. So the point I'm trying to drive at is we're going to simplify leasing. We're going to draft up all of your leases for you. That reduces a lot of time and friction under your command without giving you the impression that you have to manage us. And it really does a good job. We see a lot of smiles on our customers' faces. I'm very impressed with selling this product because of the feedback we get from our customers. There's always a pain point, whether it's, I'm sick of doing the tours. I'm really sick of drafting up these leases. I'm really sick of communicating back and forth with the landlord for VOE or VOI or VOR. And you have an account management team at Sunroom that's really good at dealing with the problems that you would normally have to face, and we stand in front of the noise so you can focus on that 4th pillar of growth. You can focus on the owners because you're an expert at dealing with your owners. We're the expert at dealing with the tenants. Let us help you get these properties leased quicker. So that's kind of like in a nutshell the concept of Sunroom Leasing. We're not for everybody. We're for growth-minded property managers who really, really want to focus on reducing the noise that they have. Maybe even take a vacation for once, right? Since we work 7 days a week, we kind of provide this opportunity so you don't have to. It's a really good plan for working with experts instead of, the quintessential VAs or we just do self-tours and that's all we do. Having the ability to do self-tours and having our technology here at Sunroom, We're backed with some really smart co-founders here. So you're always working with an expert team, not somebody overseas or not somebody that doesn't know what the heck they're talking about. It's a good place to work. It's a good opportunity for any property manager out there that's looking to grow door count and stop being just stuck in the mud with the minutia of screening and leasing and tours.
Great intro. One of the best I've seen. Thanks. Because sometimes you get people to say, all right, tell me about yourself. And like, hi, I'm Brad. Great intro, man. I got lots of questions. You ready? You're strapped in, you're sitting down?
Yeah.
Okay, so branding. Let's talk through that. Yeah. How is it branded? Is it branded under my company or your company or neutral, agnostic, hidden, white label? Tell me.
Yeah, we're one of these companies that we bend for our customers, but we don't break. And if you know what I mean by that, like we onboard our customers in a very, very secure manner. It's got to be mutual partnership. It's got to be beneficial for the property manager and also for Sunroom. So when it comes to branding, essentially, if you're speaking about the portal is branded to Rentworks, right? The portal is branded to ABC Property Management Company. As far as advertising, since we come in and we represent you as the property manager, we are simply the liaison or standing in front of those phone calls. So they're dealing with Sunroom employees if these tenants have questions. They're dealing with Sunroom employees throughout the application and screening process. As far as branding, your portal is branded towards you, but if you're talking about representation to provide your owner details about property performance, we are really big on data and reporting. So if your owner is sitting there thinking, hey Joe, why is my property sitting on the market for so long? Well, I can use a tool like Sunroom as a weapon, as a really, really, really good secret weapon to get your property leased faster. Or we could just sit on the MLS. What would you like to do? Or sit on Zillow and pay them $200 a month. So what we're going to do for you and your owner's relationship is provide you reporting so they can see how long the property's been sitting on the market without Sunroom and with Sunroom. So what I'm driving at is the data and reporting that we provide. You're going to have account managers that work these leads that come in. You're going to have reporting that you can provide your owner to say, hey, this is how fast we're getting your property leased by using Sunroom, my secret weapon. And for the record, we don't interfere with your client relationship. Your client is your client. One of the biggest questions I get from property managers is, if I introduce you to my owner, how do I know that they're not just going to call you and work with you? Well, we don't work with individual landlords. We're crazy, but we're not that crazy.
Yeah, no, I get it. But we always concern. I guess where I'm going with that is, so does the tenant see your branding or ours?
The tenant would see Sunroom's branding.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just trying to understand it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really a difference necessarily. If they want a home, they don't really care who's it branded under.
Yes,
right?
They want communication, a frictionless process.
They want the home. I don't give a darn if I'm applying to X, Y, and Z or Rentworks or whomever. The tenant wants what the tenant wants. Now the owner, there might be a little confusion there. So how do you kind of shore that?
Oh, that's great. I love that. I love that question. The owner is under the impression that if you are a really growth-oriented property management company in a professional industry, you're going to use weapons. You're going to use weapons like property management software. You're going to use weapons like marketing. You're going to use weapons like leasing technology. One of the leasing technologies, here we go. Here's one of my surprises for you, Brad. Congratulations on Nashville 2024, by the way. I
don't think the podcasters can listen to me drinking old fashioned this early in the day.
Hey, we had one last night, so we can have one again.
Well done. That's a good way to grease the podcast host. You just bring them an old fashioned. I love it.
So it's a very common question. One of the suitable answers I can give is, one, we don't interfere with your client relationship. It's a sacred relationship. You worked hard to do it, but we can provide them your portal access. So what they see on their end is a landing page, essentially, of their property with professional photography done of their property with real-time stats of how many leads, how many tours. We provide them an opportunity to see the performance of it, so they're not calling you on Friday nights and Sunday mornings about, why is my property sitting on it? Mm-hmm. So as far as the branding, you almost want to promote as a property manager that you use a weapon like no different than your property management software or your maintenance team or your accounting software. You use a weapon for leasing, and that's what this industry is missing: is weaponry for leasing.
And you've
We are
expanded the
that.
definition of leasing. Okay, let me go back a little bit, because you talked about this in the beginning. Okay, we take the pictures. Well, that's an expansion of leasing, in my opinion. It's a little bit outside of leasing. Leasing to me is taking applications, writing a lease agreement, getting it moved in. That's kind of the parameters of leasing. But if you're going as far as marketing, that's very intriguing and neat, because getting people to actually take the pictures is a big part of leasing.
Yep.
And so you are doing some sort of professional or outsourced photography, and how's that work?
Start to finish. Start to finish is a very cliche word to say, right? Start. What do you mean by
Right,
start
'cause
to
where
finish?
to start? What does that mean, start? What does that
we
mean,
handle the
finish?
leasing
That's what I'm
process,
talking about.
right? And that's what makes this product so fun and challenging in a good way to promote, because we do fly under the radar because of our opportunity. It's a very unique process. If you are a control freak, if you're listening to this podcast and you are a control freak in property management, that's a good thing. You're gonna have a problem relinquishing your leasing operations to a company, and that's why I was very careful with the word outsource. We don't really like to, because you have visibility into it, and we're not trying to replace anybody's job. So back to your question about what start to finish is, yes. So from start, go out to the property, boots on the ground in these major metropolitan areas, front yard sign. Photography, professionally done, inside and out. We actually have this really cool piece of technology called a sunlock. So our name is Sunroom Leasing, right? We have a technology called Sunlock. So what happens when we do an install is we have the deadbolt of the property that's vacant. What we'll do is we will replace that deadbolt with something called a Sunlock. It's a standard keypad. It has a really cool Wi-Fi enabled Raspberry. For any of you tech junkies out there, you probably know what that is. Talks to the lock. So what happens is, if you're on your smartphone as a renter and you're browsing on a Sunday morning and all of a sudden you see a property on Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com that you want to tour, what you can do is click on the tour button. It'll redirect you to sunroomrentals.com, which is the tenant-facing interface that we have. You'll fill out some preliminary information to make sure that you know that there's no Section 8 or no aggressive breeds, or this is $6,600 all in, like all said and done with security deposit fees and all that good stuff. You take a selfie. You upload a government ID. When you get close to the property, when you go out and drive to that property, 123 Main Street, whatever it may be, the door automatically unlocks from you with a proximity. And this is a really, really sexy feature, because a lot of lock companies or self-showing tours deal with keys. We don't deal with keys here. It's all done by proximity. The keypad is replaced once we get the property leased, but that tenant experience is seamless. So they have 30 minutes to tour the property. They go in and out. We have that Raspberry, that Wi-Fi enabled stick inside that talks to the lock, so we know who's going in, we know who's going out. Safe, secure, no squatters, no scammers, no anything. It's a very, very secure process. Once they leave, door automatically unlocks. And guess what? One of the claim to fames that we have with leasing properties so quickly is we send them the link, the application link, via text once they leave the property. They can fill it out right before they hit the door handle on their car.
Nice.
When they're hot and bothered. So again, these contributing factors that go into leasing properties quick, there's no magic wand. It's a combination of things. It really comes down to a combination of these things. So the frictionless part about leasing is having that self-tour capability.
Okay, so the metrics. Let's get through some of this. So you probably are pretty good on the data side. Are you able to quantify how fast you lease homes compared to the average?
Yeah.
So let me explain. Let's say the average days on market in San Antonio in the month of May, any given year is 28 days, just for fun. I'm pulling rabbit out of a hat number.
Yeah.
Are you able to get to, because you're kind of new, are you able yet to quantify saying our average days on market is 18 and the rest of the world out there is 28?
Yeah.
Okay.
The short answer is yes. Account managers are a big benefit to having. Look around here, right? You have a lot of vendors, a lot of good vendors. A lot of vendors have the process where they sign you up and they never talk to you again. It's a SaaS-based model in this economy. We're cutting jobs and doing overseas. We have account managers that are not only licensed in the state that we operate in, but they are solely responsible for getting your property leased. So I say that to say this. We got skin in the game, Brad. So when you submit a property inside the Sunroom portal, we are responsible for getting it leased with a good qualified tenant, by the way, that you approve. Those metrics and those account managers are meeting with you on a bi-weekly basis. providing you those data points. Typically, before you submit your first properties and so on and so forth, you come ready for that conversation, and so do we. Depending on what market you're in, we can share that data with you. But I think one of the biggest selling points for property managers, especially recently partnering up with Sunroom, we offer a test drive, like a pilot test drive. Like, what other opportunity out there that you have with vendorships in your property management company? Do you have to do like a trial or a pilot, we call it here at Sunroom?
Yeah,
so you got a 60-day opportunity to submit some properties to see if it's good. And then we'll ask you for maybe a little bit larger of a commitment. But the data and the reporting that you have with our account managers regarding reduced days on market, it's our job to shine for you. And if we're not working out for you, shake hands and part as friends. We're not for everybody, that's for damn sure. But the opportunities that you have to get properties leased faster is surely going to be a little bit quicker with Sunroom than doing it yourself.
I'm with you on that. There's a couple things I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, let's peel it back.
Because it's just, there's lots going on in my head because we have so many things going on in the leasing side. Are you able to communicate to the owners, or do you communicate to the property manager who communicates to the owners on potential price adjustments? Home's been on the market 10 days, no showings, no interest, no applications. Clearly, it's vacant, made ready, pets allowed.
Yeah.
Right? Those are our three big like filter bottoms. If those three are happening and you have no showings and no applications, what is it? The answer, as you know, I'm leading you into an answer, is price. Right? How do you help us communicate that, or do you communicate that to the owners?
Yeah.
That, hey, dummy, you're overpriced.
Yeah.
You know, you want $2,000 for this thing. It should be a $1,500.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Just to clarify, so we're not communicating with the owners, which is good, because in this conversation and the example that Brad just brought up, we provide CMAs, the magic word. Competitive market analysis, right? So when you submit inside your portal, and again, for the listeners out there, think of Netflix portal, think of the Uber portal, think of any portal that you use that's really tech savvy, right? At the end of the day, we're a tech company. We're just also a leasing only brokerage. So you have this visibility. When you submit a property and after it goes live, automatic CMA in your market goes out. Completely 100% visible inside your portal. You can share that CMA, for example. Let's just say the property is sitting on the market for 14 days. Your owner calls you up as the property manager. Hey, what's the story with my property? Why is it sitting on there for so long? That property manager can now confidently report back to the owner to say, we have this many tours, or this many leads, this many showings, this many tours, so on and so forth. And by the way, I use this leasing tool called Sunroom, and they have a CMA, a 5-6 page report on your market or your neighborhood for this CMA, for this property, and you can share that with them and say, hey, this is a leasing only brokerage. This is a leasing tool that I use, and they are saying that you should reduce your price instead of just the property manager's opinion now.
I like the neutrality of that, because you're really offering third-party information, right? It's not me as a property manager.
Yes. In my best interest, right?
It feels like it's overpriced. But no, here's some actual data in a CMA.
Yep.
We had no showings for a week, 10 days, whatever the number is. And that's my hotbed, my hot button, because I'm assuming in the portal you can go in there and actually organize by days on market and the homes that you have listed. And the triggers would be in my mind, okay, anything past 10 days on market, I got to call the owner. Yeah. Mr. Owner, love you. We haven't had anything for 10 days. I think we need to reduce. And if it gets to 21 or 30, and that's when, you should be calling significantly more, because that's where you lose owners. Is if a home is on the market, vacant, made ready, allows pets, and they're not getting applications, they're not getting lease agreements, and you're not telling them daily that it's overpriced, then they're going to wonder what you're doing wrong and want to move elsewhere.
Certainly.
Fire you. Is where I'm getting at.
It's a very traditional concern, let's put it that way, right? I think one of the benefits of partnering with a secret leasing weapon like Sunroom is the portal accessibility. So you can share with your owner that portal that's branded to you towards ABC Property Management Company. They will see this link. It's a simple share button. Think of your iPhone, your Android device. You got the share button when you find a really intriguing article online, share it. Same concept, same use of ease. When that owner sees it, now you got them reducing the frequency of calling you and asking what the heck's going on, because you got real-time data now, a branded web page that shows their property, their pride and joy, their property that is sitting there for 14 days, however long it takes. Hopefully you get at least sooner. But at the end of the day, we just want to give the property manager another tool to get the owner off their back.
Are you able to automate reports that go out to these owners?
We can, yeah, by request.
Like on cadence, like a 5-day, 10-day.
You mean our customers or the owners?
The owners.
Okay.
On behalf of the property manager, or do you send it to the property manager and they send it? Because if you white labeled my name or my company's name, but you send out an automated report like, hey, your home's been on the market 5 days. Hey, your home at 10 days, at 15 days, whatever you cadence pace you want. That'd be a great feature for me, because we have Monday morning updates that we do with our owners that have homes in the market that haven't leased.
Yep.
And so we send out a one-page
days on market report.
Yeah, send out a report, and then it gives our PMs an opportunity to follow up with the owner.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Owner, your home's been on the market 7 days, 14 days, whatever. We've had no applications, 10 applications. And that's where they have to potentially needle them for a price adjustment. Because some owners, they price their homes. We don't.
Yeah.
We can guide them, but at the end of the day,
it's their decision, right? Yeah.
So I guess a feature that I'm asking if you have, is there a way to automate that in your system to send the owner an automated marketing report at a certain cadence, whatever? It could be daily, it could be every week, whatever you decide. That would be a really cool feature. Do you have something like that?
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Being a tech company, there's a lot of flexibility. Like I said before, we bend, we don't break for our customers, right? And hopefully any professional out there that's hearing that understands what we mean, because owners can be very demanding in property management. And as a property manager owner, you bend and you don't break.
Yeah.
You conform, but you don't, completely.
The reason I bring that up is the number one complaint is communication during leasing.
Exactly.
My property manager never called me.
Yep.
I just put the home on the market, and 30 days later, it hasn't rented. They never even once.
It's a common problem, yeah.
It is a common problem, because we're doing 20 different things.
Yeah.
Right. And so we have to really strong awareness of that home being on the market and vacant. Right. Vacancies cause problems. You got break-ins. You got squatters. You got all kinds of weirdness going on. Hell, you have dead bugs in the entry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just all kinds of stuff going on the leasing side.
Well, you mentioned that, just to speak out of turn there, Brad, is yes, the reporting, great. We got account managers that meet with you on a regular basis and provide you that information. And by the way, just a little side comment, you're not dedicating your entire portfolio to Sunroom unless you want to. Some partners dedicate 100% of their portfolio. Here, take it. I need to focus on growth. I need to focus on firing some of my owners, not even just hiring new owners. You can dedicate 50% of your portfolio. So I say that to basically lean into not only just the reporting, but kind of what you just mentioned was something along the lines of, now I'm spacing on what you mentioned.
Automated reporting basically is what I'd like to see, to say something to send out to the owners, daily, weekly, whatever cadence you send. Because that's always been a challenge, is to make sure that we communicate effectively. Now, I know it's email. I know it's more white noise. Maybe we augment with a text message. Here's your latest report. Click here. Go to this. Yeah. The text message clicks to a link and takes them to a portal that they can review.
Now I recall. So you're onto something with that. So like I was saying, the sharing link inside the portal, if you're a customer of ours, by the way, for any customers listening, you have that ability to share it with your customers. Your owners, when you share that, it also provides tour feedback. And this is what I meant, I left out when I was talking about the sunlock. So when you go tour as a tenant, after you leave the property, you're sent the application, but you're also sent a survey to provide some candid feedback of the property, which also goes into the contributing factor to your owner's knowledge of why is this property sitting on the market longer than desired? Meaning, does it smell like cats?
Yeah.
Is there holes in the drywall? Is there
or even like
overgrown
carpet
grass?
cleanliness? Like a 10 to a 1 on carpet cleanliness.
So it's Mr. Owner, it's not the price.
Yeah.
And that's the easy solution to lower the price, right? It's because it has cats or blood in the carpet, and that happens a lot. Yeah,
new
exactly.
Paint. I mean, something. Yeah.
So we provide that
raccoon in the backyard.
Yeah, and we provide that candid feedback provided by our tenants, provided by our renters who hopefully become tenants. So if the property is sitting on the market, you have another bullet in the chamber before you lower the price to say, hey, you need some work on this property. Okay. So it's a really, really, like the page that you can share with your owner does a good job at explaining, so you don't have to.
That helps a lot. I do like that feature quite a bit.
Property Meld is a smart maintenance coordination solution proven to turn maintenance headaches into profitability. Our maintenance coordination hub connects all property management companies' key players in one location, providing maintenance oversight and efficiency to property management maintenance teams. Our solution streamlines communication throughout the coordination process, resulting in the oversight and efficiency property managers need to create a profitable maintenance operation. Property Meld delivers property managers with a positive maintenance experience. Check out more information at propertymeld.com or reach out at info@propertymeld.com.
So let's switch on the applicant side. Are we able to make the settings or set the settings to however we want to choose the best applicant and or choose the first applicant? There's lots of debate in the PM world about which applicant to choose. Do you take the best one or you take the first one who meets the screening criteria?
Right.
I'm more in the first part of take the best applicant within reason, not like within 30 days, but like over a weekend. If you get 3 or 4 applications in, you review all of them. And if one is really solid, you go with that one. Same thing, my PMs always have the ability, okay, here comes an 800 credit score applicant, makes, 10 times what they need to qualify for the rent. Take the home off the market, right? Don't take any more applications because it's going to be very difficult to beat that particular applicant.
Right.
But here comes one, they got a 550 and, 6 kids and 4 pets and, that might be one we might be marginal on, even though they meet the screening criteria that we might post. It's not necessarily the best applicant for the home.
Sure.
Long-winded explanation to a question because I guess you just have to tell me, are we able to make those settings on our own?
So let me answer a question with the question. What would you prefer?
That I make those settings on my own. Like I have the ability to say we take the best applicant and review them and pick applicant A, B, C, or D. Or we could set it to where the first applicant that meets the screening criteria and has X, Y, and Z credit score, you set that screening criteria.
So follow-up
you would
question
just
to that.
approve them automatically and then move to lease signing.
Yes. So follow-up question to that is typically the property managers out there listening, you probably have owners that have different criteria set. Depending on how large your portfolio is, sometimes you standardize it across the board. Sometimes you have owners
we always know the bugaboos of the owners. They might say, I don't want pets, or I don't want any pets bigger than 20 pounds. There's always a little bugaboo from each owner, and sometimes you get to know the little nuances. They're not violating the screening criteria. They're not being racist or sexist or something like that. They're just like, I really don't want any cats in this property. Okay, we say no cats. But it's not really against the screening criteria, right? It's against the requirements of that property. And sometimes tenants just blow past that. You understand? They don't read it and they apply anyway.
Yeah, I think one of the very intuitive things about the portal and the product that has been developed by Sunroom in the last 6 years is the ability to, when you become a customer of ours or try us out on a pilot, you do an onboarding call. And on that onboarding call, we ask you kind of the same question you just asked me. What are your preferences, right? Is it per property? Is it per owner? Is it universal? And again, using the word intuitive, inside the portal, you are basically guided this white glove onboarding approach from our great, fantastic account managers about what you prefer. Is it 550 credit score? Is it 3 times rent? Is it no bankruptcies, evictions, felonies? You literally can get down so detailed about aggressive breeds and which aggressive breeds you want to omit. You can make it universal settings. You can go property to property, but at the end of the day, you are in control. I just don't like to give the impression that you have to be so in control where you feel like you're managing somebody else, because that's not the concept. The concept is an in-house leasing team, keyword in-house, not subcontract.
Great lead in. Let's talk through the pet scenario. Pet screening or some sort of pet like filter. A lot of folks out there use petscreening.com.
Right.
With or without pets, I think that's a pretty good scenario because they actually have to sign a bunch of disclosures and waivers that says, we're not bringing in pets. Here's my signature. I pinky swear that I don't have any pets, that type of stuff. Talk me through your animal process, pet process.
Sure. Yeah. Diving into the details on that, obviously pet screening is, you live in Texas, right? We're based in Austin. There's more dogs than humans in Austin, right?
Yes.
So pet screening is a big bugaboo for a lot of property managers, especially if they live in different areas that have maybe aggressive breeds, or they live in areas that have smaller concept apartments, like multifamily garden style, whatever it may be. So when we do the onboarding call, you can select these things, of course, but we do integrate with your software. So not to make it brought to you by petscreening.com, but we do have the ability to sync with your petscreening.com, for instance, your account, and then that obviously essentially talks to your property management software.
And that's huge, that's huge. That's what everybody needs to hear. There really isn't a better product out there than what they're doing.
No, yeah.
And I do think I like them. I like what they do. And
they're the most popular for sure.
And then we use the paw score method, that comes with a 5-paw, poor score. And then we take that algorithm method and apply that to our pet fees. So I'm sure you would do the same inside the settings of what we, in that onboarding call, we would show you our screening criteria and maybe just take it word for word and just implement it into the system. But essentially, the paw score equals a monthly pet fee. And that's where we get it from. So it's it's a third party determination of that breed of pet, animal, whatever it's going to be.
We want to use the tool, like we don't want to come in and be a bull in a china shop, so to speak. We want to come in and be a tool that systematizes and simplifies all of your vendors. So the problem that we solve is you simplify a hell of a lot of vendors. How many vendors are in the leasing process? 4 or 5 sometimes?
Yeah.
You got a lot of them. With Sunroom, you only got one.
Right.
So we're not trying to kick anybody out of bed here, but we just want to say, there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen with leasing.
No, you're right.
Here we got one. One portal, one submission.
Professional photographers, you have your screening product, you have your showing product, you have your pet screening type product. There's at least 4. You probably have your DocuSign product that you need, or your dot loop, whatever you may want to use, or PDF, signature.
Don't forget VAs.
There's your remote team members.
Don't forget marketing, Zillow.
There's your 7. I mean, we're racking it up here pretty quick. Zillow's an additional fee, so maybe that's covered in your algorithm. So, great question. Let's ask that really quick. Tell me about your Zillow operational process there.
Yeah, one of the most popular questions, Brad, that we get on the demonstrations. And by the way, anybody listening, if you're a visual learner about kicking the tires on vendors, Sunroom has a really good way to go about showcasing the portal and the settings and the detailed questions that Brad's asking today. So take us up on inquiring about a demo. But as far as the marketing, most popular question we get, where do you market? We market about 40 plus, keyword plus, internet listing sites, right? Marketing sites. Think of your big dogs, Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, Apartments.com, Apartment Guide, Zumper, all the big ones, and we do that manually. So when we take the photos, we'll write up the description for you if you want us to. We'll make them nice, neat, in order. Right? It's got to have some sex appeal. Right? These pictures got to look good because at the end of the day, when people are scrolling on their cell phone, which they make decisions nowadays more on their cell phone, it's got to have some appealing pictures. And everybody uses something different, whether it's hot pads or whether it's pad mapper. There's always a really niche market that somebody is loyal to. And if we're syndicating out to those internet listing sites, you're going to have visibility. So instead of you manually doing it, or you doing it and relying on your property management software to do it, which in my opinion is a little bit of some smoke and mirrors. We syndicate everywhere. Sometimes you're going to be at the bottom of the barrel. It's like being at the bottom of Google. We're going to put you at the top. We're going to put you in premier listings. We're going to have you pretty much omit your Zillow cost because we're covering all of those fees for you. We're doing all the marketing. At the end of the day, for you listeners out there, we got skin in the game at Sunroom. Our sole job is to find a tenant that is not only qualified, that fits the criteria that you're looking for, but pays and stays. That's it.
Going through the end of that life cycle, let's talk through lease agreement signing and then money collection and move-in.
Oh, the boring stuff, Brad.
The boring stuff. Because the lease collection sign up, I mean, we use a custom lease agreement. Attorney
TAR,
approved.
Yeah. Custom, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, custom. So it's attorney approved, Trek approved. It's a custom lease. And so it's a Word document that we turn into a PDF that can go into DocuSign or whatever, right? It's very generically common, but it's hugely effective. So we use our own lease. That's easy. You probably have an upload system or built-in integration into some sort of signing platform. Hey, Mr. Applicant, turn tenant, you're approved, sign here, deliver us money. How does the funds collection work? Because that's really more important than the actual document signing.
It's true. Yeah, so it's a couple, two maybe three-part question there. So we can either use your state's lease agreement, right? For example, in Texas, it's called TAR. For the record, it's not called TAR. A lot of people say TAR. There's always somebody that gets mad about
really
that.
Mad
Yeah, right.
I know.
If you have a custom lease agreement, which most people do have a custom lease agreement, especially outside of the state of Texas, integrate with that easy. The addendums, like you're along for the ride. Like it's not like we're doing this rogue or behind the scenes. We're just doing it for you, no different than if you were to hire somebody to do it. So the second half of your question about the security deposit collection, you can sync up with your own bank account. Your property management bank account. Inside the portal, when the time comes, there's a link that says you can invite your client to connect their bank account, so your owner, which is very uncommon in property management, unless you're maybe an agent or something like that, or it's a one-off deal that we would do. Typically, most of our customers are going to link up their own property management bank account with it. So if it's ABC company, really easy, and they would pay Sunroom the security deposit, and then we would just write back to you. So we're kind of like in escrow, like we're just the liaison between it. But remember, at the end of the day, we're collecting security deposit, we're writing up that lease. We want to make sure that they're not going to jump ship, which rarely happens when you have good customer service as a tenant, as a renter, I should say, to become a tenant, and then that syncs up with you. So it's really from start to finish. Again, security deposit collection. Once that renter moves in, we pass things right over to you.
Yeah,
so it's this really easy handoff.
You wouldn't necessarily have to have the money in hand.
Nope.
You just need assurances that they've given money to somebody.
As do we, yeah.
Right? And then they can move in. And how do you move them in? You just do a lockbox remote move-in type thing?
Yeah, so they uninstall. There's a lot of details. We don't need to peel that back. Save it for the demo. Sure. But the uninstall, what happens is we get notified. We have a great field ops director. He'll basically dispatches wherever the property is, dispatches workers, go out there. They uninstall the sunlock. They make sure that they have this policy called leave no tray. So no modifications will be done to the door whatsoever. So they uninstall it, unplug that Raspberry, that Wi-Fi enabled stick, install the original deadbolt on there, put the key right back where it was put in the first place, and that's it. Kind of brush your hands and walk away and hand things back over to you. Tenants are happy. Happy tenants mean happy owners. Happy owners mean happy customers.
Hand the PM a signed lease agreement, collected funds, and a moved-in tenant, all in one.
No brainer, right?
I love it. All right, here's the tough question. What's it cost?
Right. Such a great question towards the end of this podcast, right? So if you think about, I totally sound like a politician when I answer this question. If you think about, right, if you think about the process of vendors in the space, right, in the property management, whether in multifamily or single family, there's a lot of subscription-based fees. There's a lot of onboarding fees and account manager fees and monthly fees and yearly fees and 12-month contracts. We try to keep it simple at Sunroom. Maybe it's our Austin, Texas mentality. I don't know what it is, but we keep it simple. So we're performance-based is what I'm driving at. And if you've heard me before say skin in the game, we really mean that. We don't get paid until we find you a tenant. So we work for free until we get paid, right? Just the oldest real estate line around. Depending on your market, typically a safe benchmark is about 65 to 75% of first month's rent.
Okay.
So before anybody out there hears that and signs off on this podcast, keep in mind all of the fees that go into leasing operations that Brad and I talked about before, like Zillow, overhead, personnel, days on market, drive time, photography costs. There's a lot of things. And in the beginning, depending on what you charge your landlords for first month's rent, typically in, Texas, you're going to have property managers that charge 1 month rent. Like, for example, what do you charge?
It's a flat fee.
Yeah, flat fee.
Because like in Houston, it's market normal.
100%, right? 1 month's rent,
rent. That's in Houston.
Yep. So what we're going to do is 65% of first month's rent. That's really the only fee you're ever going to have with Sunroom. Okay. And you're only going to get an invoice, to make a long story short, once we get a tenant in there. So no subscription-based fees, no monthly fees, no anything like that. We do a pilot program in the beginning just to do proof of concept to make sure it's a mutual partnership and it's agreeable on both sides of the fence. Because again, you're almost hiring an employee or employees here. After that trial period is done, we'll ask you for a larger commitment, maybe a large percent of your portfolio, like 70, 75% of your portfolio, whatever you feel comfortable with. And it would be at about 65 to 75% of first funds rent, depending on what market you're in.
So
That's
one
it. That's
one
it.
thing to clarify, is there a co-broker commission coming out of that fee that goes to a RE/MAX, Coldwell Banker, you name it, leasing agent that's bringing the tenant to you?
If the tenant is represented by an agent, of course we will pay them out.
Okay.
Right, of course we'll pay them
Is
out.
that part of the fee or on top of the fee?
It's part of the fee. Yeah,
Pretty
don't
impressive.
quote me on that. But yeah, it is impressive.
Yeah.
We try to stay away from the MLS for a lot of different
I
reasons.
don't like it either.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay agents, to be frank. I mean,
Right.
I don't want to make enemies with this, but we pay a $300 co-broker commission.
Right.
In Austin, when we moved into Austin and started to own a management company there, everything in Austin was 35%.
Yeah.
I said, no,
I know,
we're not
right?
doing 35%.
Yep.
We're just going to pay $300.
Yeah.
And the agents, we got a few hate mail. At the end of the day, I don't care about the agent.
Yeah.
I want the tenant.
Yeah.
The agents can go make money somewhere else.
Yeah,
because
they
we
buy
were
and sell
getting-
properties. They
the
don't make it
agents
off
were doing
leasing.
shadow showings. You understand?
Yep.
Shadow showings are just like in the apartment industry.
Yep.
They don't show the property. They just tell the applicant to put their name
Yeah.
down, and then they charge you a commission
Yep.
or try to get a commission from you. Just like in the
Preach, Brad.
apartments.
Preach. Yeah,
the
totally.
apartment locating industry is notorious for the shadow showing
yeah.
system. And I don't play that game
Yeah.
in a single family home. If they didn't
Yeah.
physically take that applicant to the property and show them in person, I don't feel they deserve a commission,
Precisely. Mhm.
because they can find that home online
Yeah.
anytime, day or night, and they can access the property through our. What you're doing, the same thing as we're doing, is we're doing those unaccompanied vacant home showings. They don't need an agent to show them.
Yeah.
Call us up. We'll arrange a showing for you. Give us your license, give us your selfie, go see the property with this
Yeah.
technology. I mean, or here's a gate code
Yep.
and here's a lockbox code. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
So to include it, I get it. Just
Yeah.
once in a while, a couple $300. I'm sure
Yeah.
that the property manager can set that commission.
Sure.
Knowing that's actually makes a lot of sense, because that's where it can get ugly.
Yeah.
Is if you
It
include
can.
that co-broker commission or you don't.
It can.
Some
But,
markets are
yeah.
50%, right? Some are.
We're in the
$50.
right, and I mean, again, not to piss off any agents out there listening, but at the end of the day, the result for our partnership with a property management company is to get a tenant in there that is qualified, that pays and saves. Right, I said that a few times. If we have to pay out an agent that is shadow or even completely 100% representing that tenant, then we'll pay him out. We're not gonna throw that fee your way. We did our job. Hopefully you'll come back for more. Hopefully we do it again and again and again. But if you remember me saying about how many marketing sites we advertise that thing out to, that really gets interesting, because we don't have to post it on the MLS, which the common mentality that an owner has is it's got to be on the MLS. Of
course,
I got to search it.
They gotta
and then
find it.
this day and age, when there's so many internet listing sites, right, there's just a dime a dozen. Most people are scrolling on their phones looking for a place that looking for a place to rent that aren't represented with an agent.
Are you able to dump it in the MLS?
We can. We prefer not to. I mean, for the reasons that we just kind of brought up, like
Well,
both.
a lot of it
but-
is the co-broker. So some MLSs you cannot advertise a zero.
exactly.
Co-broker commission. San Antonio you can. Austin, I believe you can.
HAR, you can't.
That's my point.
Yep.
I was getting there. HAR is not. So
Yep.
you have to advertise $1 or.
Yeah.
And then you're blackballed. 'Cause let's be frank here.
Yeah.
Or
We
Todd,
don't. We
I'm
don't
sure.
want to.
But,
The proof is in the pudding. So if we get the tenant and we get this property leased, your property's leased quicker, your owner's not going to care if it's on the MLS or not.
They don't.
Yeah.
Right. Where
It's-
they
and
really
it-
care is Zillow.
Yeah,
That's
exactly,
where we get
yeah.
hate mail and calls from.
Yeah.
I can't find my property on Zillow.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, we don't control that syndication.
Yeah.
We do this, and they take a day or two
Yeah.
to reflect. I mean, we have that conversation now and again.
Yeah, it'll be covered on Zillow. We control the hell out of the Zillow
Oh,
syndication.
great stuff on that. Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
So the Zillow conversation. All right, I did some numbers for a presentation in San Antonio and Houston, and I looked at the multiple listing service in San Antonio, Sabor, right?
Coolest MLS name around, by the way.
Yeah, we put all of our rentals in there, right?
Yeah.
We advertise for a $300 co-broker commission. Okay, great. Zillow, where the conversation is going next, is I did the analysis of roughly 10 or 12 property management companies that are very common in our industry. They're NARPA members, and I knew them, and everybody knows who they are, and did their days on market analysis for the last 12 months.
Yeah.
And several of them were at this presentation, like Hendrix, for example, in my market. And
Okay.
our days on market was, I think, 26 or 27. Their days on market was roughly 25, 26.
Wow.
I mean, splitting hair distance.
Yeah.
Here's the big punchline. They didn't use Zillow, and we did. And so the conversation spurred into like, is Zillow worth it? Question mark. Or are we better off to like not use it?
Yeah.
Because we pay for the Zillow upgrade. It costs us $1,100 a month or whatever it is, just to make that one owner happy. But at the end of the day, I don't know if it's really worth it when they're leasing homes just as fast without using Zillow marketing.
It's a hell of a fireside chat, right? I mean, this is a conversation that you could do 3 podcasts about, right?
Yeah, because you make you wonder if it's even worth doing.
Oh my God, yeah. And you think about the history of the MLS, right? MLS is very similar to the Craigslist, right? It's just like, the New Times Roman font and really hasn't kept up with the changes. And then Zillow came along to be this like knife in the back of the MLS. But you can probably get away with omitting from the MLS with your owners. I don't know if you can get away with the Zillow at this point in time, in my professional opinion. Data is data and facts are facts for sure, but it's really hard to have that conversation with your owner, especially if you're rolling the dice, if the property sits on the market for a little too long, and then they're like, why the hell isn't it on Zillow, right? They can get perturbed about stuff like that. But
some of their clients might be a little bit more loyal. They've got long clients.
Sure. True investor clients. Just get at least. I don't care.
They've been working with them forever and ever. Some of us are more reluctant landlord clients.
Yep.
And that 1 or 2 homes they might have because they had a PCS with the military or whatever, they're looking. Because every day that goes by is money out of their pocket, and then when they can barely make the mortgage,
right?
They want a tenant in there pretty bad.
Yep.
So it's a consideration.
We lean in on Zillow. It's not where the majority, or it is the majority of where our traffic comes from, but it's not where all of it comes from. I would say, again, not to sound so cliche, but the owner wants a head in the bed, as they say, right? A tenant who pays and stays. And however you get to that is, however you achieve that is kind of up to the property management company, whether you're using Sunroom or some other sort of weaponry in leasing. But I think it's fair to say that at the end of the day, the owner's in control. We're just kind of facilitating the decision to get a tenant in there, if that makes sense. Yeah. Zillow is kind of the necessary evil, as they say.
I like what y'all are doing, because one of the reasons I was considering maybe we use this at RentWorks is we have a pretty good leasing system, right? But it gets darn busy in the summer. There's a little bit of a peak, right, in the summer months, and maybe we get behind. Maybe we, slice off a couple for you. It's very, very much a possibility on that regard, just to augment some of that, because leasing in other markets, for example, like in a cold weather market, it's dead in the winter.
For sure, you can have
and it's just a huge bell curve in the summer, right? It's just up and down. So to be able to augment that with some insourcing of good partners to be able to do that is pretty intriguing.
I'm stealing that, Brad. Insourcing.
All right. You like that, huh? There's been some talk too about doing this type of a concept or the business development of developing new owner leads, right? So basically you're teeing it up and just saying, we're doing the lease up. Here's your tenant, Mr. Property Manager. Here's your tenant, Mr. Individual Owner, if you do those. We're doing all the leasing side, and here you go. And it's done. There's been talks about people doing that for the business development side. Hey, we're going to tee up an owner lead client. We set them up. We sign a management agreement. Here's your new management agreement. Here's your new home. We're going to charge you this giant fee. I don't think that would work necessarily very well, but some people would say your system wouldn't work very well, but clearly you've proven it, and it's pretty neat to see.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a fascinating, sadistic industry that we're in, isn't it? It really is. We got a high level of pain tolerance in property management on both sides of the aisle, vendors and property managers.
And what you're charging is not outrageous.
Yeah,
that's my honest feedback, because what most people are charging nowadays is around that 50% of 1 month's rent or a flat fee.
Right.
I mean, so to charge a little bit extra might be worth it.
Yeah.
Even if the property manager had to come out of pocket.
We certainly stand behind it, because you pay for what you get in things, and it's a level of service that is, I think, unmatched in the industry, because nobody's doing what we do. They can come close, but nobody is a leasing only brokerage and does all these marketing sites and drafts up the lease and does fraud prevention, screening, and all in one encompassing portal and a package. Not to mention just the ability to try it out, right? Try out 5 properties. It's not going to break your business model by charging 65, 75%, depending on what market you're in. But you'll know. And we know that specifically from the customers that come back to us and they say, you know what, Sunroom, you were right. You were actually right, and it's fun to have those conversations because we're such a customer service oriented company. We like to josh around with our customers and do a good job onboarding and go to these events like this and meet them in person. So it's a fun company to work for. It's
best way to reach you.
Best way to reach me, I would say email. Sunroomleasing.com is our website. Very self-explanatory. You can go there and you can fill out a demo form or a login form. Again, anybody listening out there, if you're a visual learner like most property managers are, and you're a control freak, and you have any type of inclination that this may pique your interest, do a demo. I'm telling you, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to learn something new. It may not be the right time for you now. We don't work with everybody. We're very exclusive in who we work with. It may not be a good fit now, but I tell you what, if you are growth minded and you got into this business to make money and you got into this business to grow your portfolio, at least check us out for a demo. Like I said, worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to learn something. Cody Frank, what's my email address? Cody at sunroomrentals.com. But sunroomleasing.com is our website. If you want my direct dial, no, I'm just kidding.
They can find you on the website.
1-800. Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Great episode, man. I really appreciate you coming on. That explained
it was a pleasure.
Really neat service. I like to see it. I like to see the new stuff coming into the industry, leveraging technology and potentially taking off a burden of other property managers and maybe even individual landlords.
Right. So it's so operationally intensive, and I can't thank you enough for having me on. This was a pleasure, and cheers for the final day here. Good and congratulations we'll see you next year, Brad, in Nashville.
All right, thanks for coming.
Congrats on your success.
Solve your communication problems and save an hour a day, every day with Company Cam. Company Cam is a visual-first job site communication app that allows you to have all of your properties right in your pocket. Company Cam automatically organizes unlimited property photos by date, time, and location, while easily creating and sending reports to renters and owners to save time and money. Keep vendors and clients up to date on property projects from start to finish with live project timelines. Every project, photo, video, and conversation all within one app. Company Cam. Visit companycam.com and make your life easier today.
This has been a podcast episode by PropertyManagementProductions.com. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast, leave us feedback, and come back for our next episode.